Sag, welcome to your reading. Oh my god, I did not turn the light on. Excuse me a second, guys. I have to go turn that light on. It's gonna bother me. There we go. I hope y'all like my outfit. I actually, hold on. This top keeps moving up. I gotta adjust the straps in the back. But anyway, give me just a second here. All right. Getting comfortable. I just bought some new clothes, so I'm like still getting used to them, and I am not used to having my sleeves like worn all the way the heck down here, like with a top like this. So it feels very Arthurian though, you know what I mean? Like it feels like that. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm really loving this top though. It's comfy. Everybody's like, it's so cute. Anyway, first things first, Sag, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, I'm doing things differently this month because Mercury retrograde messes with everybody, and he likes to mess with me whenever I try to do like a bunch of readings during retrograde for my channel and my business. So I decided, instead of giving him what he wants, which is to prank me, I decided, because that's what he does. He fucks with my, he messes with my technology, and then he'll, like, it's funny to him, but it's not to me. So I've decided, instead of just dealing with that and doing the same old thing, I'm going to break the cycle, get these readings done, and I'm using 3 different decks. I'm going to be using Dragon Oracle, Dragonfae Oracle, and your Fairy Blessings. So you will have Mercury retrograde covered for the 4 weeks, plus you get 3 additional card pulls. Pretty cool. Also, make sure to join me on Patreon for the full moon reading in Scorpio. I will be using, my beautiful Lens Rider tarot deck. And if you join that tier, you will also you should have access to the Libra reading. It's $35, so you'll get 2 readings for the month. And then that's again on Patreon. The link is in the description box down below. If you also want to join me for your zodiac signs, rites, rituals, spell work, and incantations, and messages from Mother Isis, please join me on Patreon. I go through her messages, her rites for each card that jumps out. On top of that, because I've done them personally, spell works, I try to pull like one of 3. 1 rite, 1 ritual, 1 spell work, and or incantation. And then I also give you guys substitutions on how to do that. So if you want to join me for that, please head over to Patreon. Now, give me just a second here, Sag. I'm doing things differently. I felt called, like, I should. So I'm going to start with my dragon totem first. I've actually been working with dragons for many, many years. A lot of people don't know that. That's kind of why I've had to dip in and out on this channel for so long, because I've been working with the Fae and the dragons and the Dragonfae and Mother Isis for like the last 4 years. So I've really been developing my practice in terms of my personal practice and also guiding clients on the psychic hotlines. So like your girl was always busy. Now, Sag, the thing is, it's so funny because I actually was listening to, like, right before this, 30 Seconds to Mars' song, It's a Beautiful Lie, popped up in my head, which is so weird. I haven't heard that song in a long, long time. Like, basically when 30 Seconds to Mars was touring back in, like, 2010-ish. Yeah, that's how old I am. And I love 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto has such a great voice, especially for that song. That song always makes me very contemplative. But for some reason, Sag, I had that song come up right before your reading. I don't know if that's necessarily significant to you guys, but I do feel like I need to point out something. Usually when I get messages from Spirit through song, it's usually rather important. Even in client readings, I've had it come up, or like right before, and I don't really understand why. But, you know, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde, and if it's one thing, okay, it's not ready to work with these yet. If it's one thing Mercury retrograde teaches us, it's about lies and the harm that they do, which is so interesting to me that song popped up right as I'm about to talk about Mercury retrograde. Usually I don't dwell on the negative. I just kind of warn people about, hey, secrets and lies come out about this time. It's a generalization, but usually then I pull tarot cards and I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to find out for my clients. So it varies by person, okay, what usually comes out. But I think we need to have a little discussion about how there's this amazing quote about how it was from Princess Bride. Wesley like encounters the six-finger man, you know, Count Dukin or whatever, and he knows he's never going to see Buttercup again. He knows he's going to be taken probably to the pit of despair, as we find out. And, you know, Count Dugan says, well, let us get you back to your ship. And Wesley kind of smiles at him and he says, lies do not become us. You know, like, meaning I know you're lying to me and you're not telling me the truth, and you lied to Buttercup. And so it's like, I don't know why this is so important to you, Sagittarius. Like, I don't know if you guys have been encountering people who have repeatedly lied to you and you know the truth. That's usually some Scorpio shit, like, honestly, because Scorpio will be like, oh, I know you lied. I know you lied and I got you. And now I'm going to get you. And it becomes a cat and mouse game with the Scorpio and the person who lied, where Scorpio is the cat and that liar becomes the mouse and they don't even realize it. And that's why I'm like, whoa, what is going on in your 12th house? But that there's the full moon in Scorpio that's happening in your 12th house. It's illuminating and deconstructing and decentralizing these, I would say, illusionary structures, because the moon tarot card itself usually represents illusions, even though it's a full sign. It's a full moon on the card. Sometimes it is known about aspects of the shadow and also the lies we tell ourselves, which I'm like, okay, Sag, I don't know what the heck is going on with you, but like, you're going to need to not only be truthful with others like you brutally honestly can be, because I love you all, and my sun is 50% shared Sag, so is my Mercury is full Sag. So I get you, babies. I get it. You're honest with everybody, and usually you're also honest with yourself, but there is something that you're not being completely honest with yourself about yet. And it could be just something that's subconscious that's going to start showing itself. You might repeatedly notice something. A great example of this is, is for me, I love the idea of commitment. But I love the idea of it. But in reality, I'm like, oh, I like being non-contractual, actually. And I just recently learned that about myself. And this isn't just like relationships. This deals with phone companies, like, you know, Go plans. Like, I like that idea of being attached without being attached and signing my soul over to a contract. You see what I'm saying? Or being stuck in a deal that I know I may not be able in the future to be able to fulfill through obligation. And so it's like, oh, I'm having to personally work that out. So it might be something, maybe not around commitment, but it might be something like that where you're noticing. That's just a really great example. I was just trying to give you guys an example, but hopefully it's not commitment issues. Okay, there's our first card. And we got 3. Perfect. Okay, that one's in reverse. That's not bad. The beauty of the Dragonfae in reverse. Okay, so we got to work on this first before these 3 can be worked through. So these dragons want to face you. This one wants to face me. These are reversals. This is upright. Now, reversals in this deck are not bad. These dragons cannot necessarily work with you until you work some issues through, mainly with this dragon first. Now, this is the alpha dragon. Harness the divine masculine power of creation. Destroy the old. Visualize your dream. Help to manifest a new world. Now, this is the thing. Sag energy is extremely alpha. Whether you are male or female, you guys, like I always say, you guys are the ones who keep the cosmic order in balance. Now, your ruler is actually in Pisces with his brother Neptune. So it's like they're working on the collective effort, and you are now focusing your attention to spirit. And not only that, but depending on the placement of where in your natal chart Jupiter and Pisces are, followed by Neptune, like on the progression, that's going to affect you even more, Sag. But either way, it still affects you because you are ruled by Jupiter. So it makes you highly prophetic. We've kind of talked about this, but give me just a second here, because I want to see, it's in your 3rd house of communications, or 4th house of friends, where you're seeing this play out. Now, when we work with this dragon, the alpha dragon, it says divine masculine power. Now, whether you're male or female as a Sagittarius, Sag females are very beautiful, very feminine, but do give off a highly masculine energy, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. They are fire sign energy, and it's a polarity. Now, that doesn't mean if you're a woman and you're feminine, you're going to become a man or anything like that. That's of your choice and your free will. But it is saying here you need to work out the kinks on this divine masculine energy, or I would even say viewpoints about divine masculine energy. For example, what makes a divine masculine solely depends on several factors, but a proper divine masculine, he's basically an emperor, but I would say even just a little bit more emotional, because the emperor in the tarot doesn't like to show emotions. He likes to reject them, and it goes a little bit ego, whereas this is more or less like, I understand emotions. I have emotional intelligence. I'm willing to share that with my partner and select few, but I don't give into ego unless I have to. That is the difference between the tarot card of the Emperor and this type of divine masculine energy. But usually the Emperor, when he is with his Empress, is able to go into those depths of divine masculinity and feel safe. Normally, when an emperor or an emperor-like figure does not feel safe is when they usually act in ego out of protection. So for people who need to invoke this energy, and honestly, the Mercury retrograde is going to make you guys work the kinks out on this. Now, before I can get to these, I need to pull from my Dragonfae deck, because I feel like, because these are the weeks that are coming through, right? This is week 1, week 2, week 3. But for some reason, you're not able to really utilize these energies right off the bat. And I want to know why. So give me just a second here, because the Dragonfae take the Fae energy and the Dragon energy together and combine them to give you very insightful wisdom, deep wisdom. I've only used these cards like on a handful of times, 20 times in my life. I've had them for 2 years. But that's how powerful these messages can be and how impactful these cards are. It is rare for me to pull these out for clients. Even this deck did not want to be used on the hotlines. I tried to use it and it would say, nope, I didn't understand it. It wanted to be used for like more higher vibrational energy or projects I was working on. So show me please, clearest of divine guidance, how, with my beautiful Dragonfae deck, how can we open the gateway to use the Lilac Fire Dragon? Show me, please, for Sag. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ooh, clarity. Fernia. I have pulled this card one time. I'm still going to read from the book. You also got, Grandmother Magics. I love Grandmother Magics. She is so awesome to work with, whether you're masculine or feminine. She will guide you in terms of not just magic and power, because truthfully, she's actually, if you're a man, she's going to make you look and see how you are relating to women, and not just for who they are, what age they're at, because Grandmother Magics goes past that. I actually had to explain this to another sign, but Grandmother Magics, if you're a woman, and let's say you're a young woman, you're a teenager, you're a maiden, you're in your 20s, you're still a maiden, or you're 30 and you should be at the childbearing age where you're married and have children and you're not, or even if you are married and have children, or if you're a grandmother, the point is she makes you look at your femininity outside of your body's like gender, without actually going like, it's almost like she makes you look and define what is femininity to you. How does it relate outside of childbearing, outside of marriage, basically outside of what we deem is important for women as status to have. And that is where you get your empowerment from. And she teaches us the ancient old ways of magic, not just Fae magic, but dragon magic as well. And oh my God, I love Grandmother Magics. Like whenever you need like a grandmother figure to come in and help you understand something and break down fundamentals, Grandmother Magics is best for this. So give me just a second here, because Sag, I feel like I'm going to be pulling way more Dragon Oracles for you than everybody else. But it's only because I've got these other cards coming through. So the beauty of the Dragonfae Oracle is these are lessons that are going to help you during Mercury retrograde. And then once you learn them, you'll be able to ask and invoke these dragons to come through. So give me just a second. I want to see for the Omega Dragon, what is the Dragonfae Oracle message that Sagittarius? Whoa, that's a lot. Okay. I'm taking only the uprights in this one and not these two. It's not that these are negative, but it's like with the Dragonfae, that means like essentially when they're reversed, these dragons, it's just kind of like this. Like these are, you can't work with them yet because you have to learn the fundamentals. These are, you have these fundamentals to learn before these can open. So just kind of like the Fae blessings. Like that's how I work with the reversals in this deck and how I've learned to work with them. Maybe other people read them differently or opposing energy, but I find when I tried that didn't work with this deck. And so that was what makes this deck a little bit more special for me. Oh my God, Sagittarius, you got the listener too. And you got Morgana-Lee Fae. I love her. She is awesome to work with. She's so badass. Oh, she's my favorite Fae being of all time. Like Nimue too, and also I don't know how I feel about Morgos in Arthurian lore. I kind of feel like torn about her, just based on like there's not much about her other than she's like, you know, kind of sexy, uses it, but does very dark Fae magic. I kind of disagree with that. Morgana does both, but she is, in this deck, the protector. And on top of that, you have the listener. Okay, so I'm going to get into the listener in just a second. Let me pull for the white gold dragon from Lyra. One more Fae blessing here. What is it? Sag needs to... Well, hello. Oh my God. I've never pulled this card. We're going to read from the book on this one too. And, oh, I have worked with this card, but we're still going to pull from the book because this one has a lot of meanings and there's a lot of context here. But we have Pendragon, which is, if you know Arthurian legend, Pendragon and Morgana are highly connected. So give me a, oh, she wanted to be there, but that's not the right card for you, babe. Okay, so here's the deal. I've got Grandmother Magic's trying to help you bring in the Lilac Fire Dragon, but I also have Fernia. Now, Fernia, she comforts and teaches you the old ways of magic, right? The real Fae magic. You might even find research on the fundamentals of Fae magic or the old ways of paganism that deal with connections to the Fae realm. The beauty of working with these Dragonfae is you do not have to call and invoke the goddess Freya to come in because these beings are pretty divine in their nature. They're very high vibrational. I've never really had to worry about them having lower leveled ego issues or having their own nefarious kind of things. Dragons are, when you work with them and the Dragonfae, they're like above that usually. So I'm just putting this out there so that way you can understand. Now, here's the thing. The Lilac Fire Dragon wants to come through to transmute power into divine love. Open up to the transcendent love and enlightenment. Purity of heart brings peace, hope, and joy. Okay, now I get why you're having to go divine masculine and then looking at the foundations of what you base feminism on outside of age and body. Age mainly, but also like what most people perceive women are good for, which is having babies and getting married to have babies. So in ancient times, it was a little bit different, or, you know, being the gatherers or being the caretaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's taking those concepts, putting them to the side and really looking at divine femininity for what it truly is under her guidance. So, okay, we've got that coming through. So basically, once you work with her, it's going to start to turn this card this way. And when that happens, you're going to have to confront Fernia. Now, Fernia is clarity. I have read from the book on this one before, but Fernia is more or less a spirit dealing with ferns and fern energy. And I am not in the plant world. It's not that I don't like ferns. Before I started working with plant magic, that comes from the roots of my heritage. I didn't understand what ferns were for. I really didn't. But this card actually gave me the clarity on why they exist. It's about long-term stability and longevity, and also kind of the gift they bring. But in order to establish that, you must have clarity, which, you know, Mercury retrograde isn't about building clarity in terms of like short term. It's about looking at your short term to build on your long term. But Fernia is, give me just a second here. In this book, her definition, hold on one second, guys. I gotta find it. I'm like, the one time I work with you, I think I soaked it up, but I don't think I got it all the way. Sorry. Here we go. Her message is, I wish to be honest with you, so you understand what it is you think you feel you are wishing for. Do you understand that in order for you to be in connection with all that you feel you desire, that there will be what may consider to be sacrifices along the way? Do you understand that what we can offer you is shelter? Yes. Soft, sweet, tender, and shaded beneath the heat of the sun, a place to rest and sleep and dream. But do you also know that others will say you dwell in a fantasy land and that what you dream of cannot be? Consider the truth of what it is you wish for and know that whatever you commit to, expectations play no part in this promise I make to you. Please, I do beg you and I do pledge to shelter you and introduce you to magics, to show you the ways of the dragon folk, and to help tend to the little ones with me. But I also promise you this, that your supposed nirvana will be muddy and dirty and difficult at times. There is no way for this to be what you fantasize about. You will need to care for yourself and allow others to be who they are, for this is the path of clarity, knowing who you are and that part you play in all things. So this is about looking at the bigger picture, not just your perspective, Sag. Leave your expectations behind and be prepared to discover more magic than you ever thought possible. Do not seek to possess anything and know that you are free to choose in every moment if you will go on. Do you understand that if you wish to be of this realm and yourself entirely, that you will give up some old ways of thinking? Otherwise, you may find yourself hurt by the conflict of such incompatible thoughts and feelings will bring you. Ooh, very interesting. I love that. I kind of felt like very authoritative when I was like, do you understand? But I get it. Okay, so now we have the listener, Sag. So the Omega Dragon wants to come in and help you harness the divine power of feminine divine power of creation, intention, hold your vision, birth a higher consciousness. Now, it cannot do that until you work on two things. One, the listener. Now, the listener, this card I actually pulled for Aquarius. It's a little bit different. This isn't about working on your listening skills in terms of people. Yeah, that is a benefit with this card. But this is about actively listening in all ways. And what exactly does that mean? Actively listening talks about listening through emotional investment, usually, but also not just that. It's about listening to spirit, listening to the universe, being in quiet stillness. It's not just about meditation. This is not a card of necessary meditation to me. This is a card of, I go about my day in silence, no music. No, I know you guys are like, what? I'm like, just hear me out. If you can't do it all day, do it for 5 minutes of quiet, pure quiet, like hearing a pin drop. Like that. In order for you to understand that there are ideas that are trying to come through and reach you. And the only way that they can do that is through the whispers of the universe, which you get in quiet energy, a quiet space. Honestly, try going to a Zen garden. Honestly, Sag, you're the only one I could say go do that too, because I think that might be a great way to disconnect. Turn your phone off, turn your notifications off. Just turn the damn thing off. Like, just turn it off and go into that garden and just go be in it. Go connect with the Fae and the Dragonfae in that space. And you will get ideas that will help come to you, that will help spring new life. And then you'll take that with you and learn about actively listening. Because divine feminine creation is something that, well, yes, the male signs and the air signs and the fire signs, they can create. They create through fire and they create through communication. Water signs, which is divine feminine, earth signs create through making with the hands and the emotional thoughts. harnessing that into power. And so if you can understand this, Sag, whether you're a male or female, this is what the listener is trying to teach you, how to do this in order during Mercury retrograde. On top of that, we have, like I said, Morgana-Lee Fae, which is healing. Now, in this deck, Morgana-Lee Fae, like I said, she's hands down my favorite. She is an energy that she and I are pretty linked. So, through time, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. It's just something special she and I have. But I will tell you this. She is awesome, and I know mythology paints her in such a terrible light, but the truth is she's a protector. She doesn't just do magic. She is a water protector as well, and her gift to you with this is healing waters from, ironically, from Avalon in the Fae realm, but also giving you protection, coming through with that sword, using the water Fae to, the water Fae energies, which sometimes are connected to the Mer realm. And the Fae are sometimes thought, the mermaids are thought to be Fae as well in some circles. And I would say yes, and I would say no, because it just depends on a couple of things, a couple of factors. But I still love working with mermaid energy because their energy is very healing. And again, we have water coming up, like water keeps wanting to come through. And Sag, I know like water to a fire sign puts you out, but maybe you need to be put out a little bit. Maybe you need to stop and think about your emotions, because you're temperance. You always act on emotion, but through logic, because you've processed it. But have you ever just sat with your emotions and not acted on them? It's really rare for you. And I think this is where you're supposed to sit with them in order to process them, in order to heal them with your 12th house, because that moon is there. And Morgana is coming in, not just like I said with magic and the water and the sword. She comes in with truth. She is like the embodiment of the divine feminine power that everybody craves but cannot obtain because they cannot face the truth. You can, Sag. It's your power. You get other people to face it all the time. This is where it's about facing the truth so you can heal and not take those illusions on anymore. And on top of that, you have her coming in to protect you, to say, hey, like if you need protection, you can ask and evoke her and it'll help protect this creation that you're trying to bring in and or research. And lastly, we have the Pendragon. And I'm going to read from the book on these two because I have actually pulled this one time and I have never pulled this card. So I'm kind of interested to see what we get here, but it looks kind of like the Lover's card to me. But just kind of off the bat, if we look at, and also they're eating apples, which apples are known to deal with love magic, but also they're associated with Avalon. Avalon is actually translates into the Isle of Apples. So, for the Fae realm. So, a lot of people don't know that until you research the mythology behind it, but I do. Anyway, so there's also the Pendragon, pure male energy. Again, so we go through this divine masculine energy in the beginning of Mercury retrograde to come out and completely embodying this. Now, like I said, Pendragon is the dragon that is known. That's where Arthur gets his name. His father, Uther, that is their surname, Pendragon. They come from this line. And I'm going to read from the book, but I've worked with this one time, and it talks about, like, again, dealing with divine masculine energy, but this is about not just breaking down the perceptions, but beginning to embody those, okay? So give me a second here while I read from the book. We might go over 30 minutes, just not by much, but enough. Probably like 35, because I still got to pull the Fae blessing. So hang on just a second here, guys, because this is pure male energy. So this is like exactly what the fire and the air signs are in the tarot. You know, action, communication, logical thought, creation through usually sexual passion. But not always. Sometimes it's through action-oriented steps we take. That's how I like to perceive the wands at times for people, because sometimes they understand action, but they don't understand, like, we still have to take those actions. You know what I mean? So, Pendragon talks about, I am he who is the hunter, the sage, the father, the provider, the protector. I am he who watches over his people and does his best for his family. I am he, your brother, your father, your husband, your son. I am sheer powerful masculine energy, and I am the lover of the goddess of the Dragonfae. Together we create wholeness. Apart we wander alone and are more easily wounded, even destroyed. I have a role to care for others, to use my physical strength, and to use my attributes to fight for those I love. And I will do that. I am a king, an emperor, and a god, and I care for you. Do not fear me. I would not hesitate to sweep you up into my arms and hold you. I love you, but you know that my role here takes me away many times from all of the love and playfulness that still lives inside of me. Trust in my actions, see the truth, and choose a partner who is in action a strong and caring manly man. If you are a man, then this is what you must become. The true masculine hero, that being of protection, no matter what you may believe about heroic men. It is time for you to embrace your hero self and become all of who you are. Do not debase masculinity. Respect us men for what we are, and we will show you our love. We do not let you down, and we will take care of you. This is not to say you are weak. Merely ask you to receive that which we wish to give you. Let us be strong in our own way. Let us care for you, and let us warn you away from that which would hurt you. I will protect, I will provide, I will build a home, and I will bring food to the table. I will build this home with my hands, and you will see the evidence of my efforts, and I will love you. This is my job, and I will never let you down. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Action-oriented steps. Not just saying it, but becoming that. Taking, again, this fire sign, air sign energy and merging them together. This is what Father Pendragon does. You know, I don't know if you guys understand, like, being a Dragonfae and working with the Dragonfae and coming to them, they're just wanting to help you. So that's why it's like, even though I was reading with kind of, I didn't mean to like read in like a, you know, assertive tone, but that's how he kind of comes off to me. So just letting you guys know, it doesn't mean anything scary, but what it does mean is that you needed to listen more. The lovers of the feast, conscious, aware eating. Okay, this is new. I've never pulled this one. You are being sent a very strong message by the Dragonfae, the goddesses, and indeed all that is to take your healing into your own hands. This does not mean rejecting traditional Western medical practice. This is not a medical reading, FYI. It means investigating dietary components that may be compromising your perfect health. Nurturing food with organic, fresh, and wholesome ingredients will be of great benefit to you at this time. You are healing yourself when you investigate this type of medicinal approach. Food has magical qualities and is an amazing healer. Please investigate which healing foods would be best for your own needs, your individual system at this time. The time you take in preparing such foods will nurture your own self-love, which will come full circle as improved energy, vitality, emotional stability, and strength, increased capacity, joy, and better sleep. Warm foods in particular will be of help to you. When you care for yourself and the rest of the world follows suit, set the example for how you wish to be treated by treating yourself with love, respect, and building foundations of strong health. The stronger your physical body, the more spirit will be able to reach you, as you will be clear and a perfect vessel. Sharing meals with loved ones at this time will also be very healing for you. Look directly into their eyes whilst eating together and share what needs to be said. Then watch for miracles. So this isn't just about like watching what you eat, but connecting with others through food or sharing meals. But you know, in Italy, there's a very good saying of never eat alone. And the Italians don't. I've been to Italy, so I know they don't like seeing people eat alone, and it's known in that culture to be actually like, it's kind of like not mentally there. It's seen as like, it's not frowned upon, but it's just like, you don't want people to eat alone. You want them to feel warmth and comfort. And when you eat alone, sometimes it's like you're isolating or you know, going away into yourself. And, you know, we bond over food to share. And so it's like, that's why, you know, most people, it's just a kind of the same concept, like in the States, never drink alone. It's kind of the same thing, you know, because then you're alone with your thoughts. And sometimes our thoughts can be our worst enemy at times. You know, we become too self-critical, you know what I'm saying? And then like we subconsciously eat and eat and eat. I have a moon in Taurus, so I know exactly, like, emotional eating. It is a thing with the moon sign in Taurus. I gotta watch myself especially around that time of the month for my ladies. So, like, for any Sagittarian people with Taurus placements, especially 5th or moon sign, definitely watch what you eat around that time of the month. And if you get emotional, watch the choices you'll make. You know, when you're emotional, or like it's that time of the month and you're just emotionally downtrodden, like what you'll choose. Now, I always, and I would say with this card, this also talks about, it says, we feel at this time that your food may not be supporting you, and you are choosing the energy of that which creates, that which will help you create your life wisely. Please reconsider your choices. If you abuse food, eat excess amounts of chocolate, dairy products, and foods laden with pain or toxins. Sometimes we experience a great deal of resistance to the notion of eating can be medicinal. Please take steps to learn for yourself about food and what works best for your own body. We have learned that after seeing famine, a feast will come. Okay, so that may also, like, for anybody panicking through the food shortage, just FYI. We have learned that after seeing a famine, feast will come after periods of loneliness and hardship, where we each are worried about how our needs will be met. We have experienced renewed joy and truth, and we are ample provided by this beautiful green and blue planet Gaia. Now, I did want to point something out, because it talked about, like, foods that may be toxic to you. Now, that's not to scare you. I know there's a lot going on in the food industry right now. And, you know, sometimes, like, we can't always be healthy. Sometimes our budgets require us to go eat the stuff that isn't good for us because we can only afford it. This is where I would encourage you to start looking at coupons, especially at the store, or, like, you know, Amazon Prime. I know, like, they have a deal with Whole Foods, and they actually have sales on there. Now, I don't know if you guys know that, but sometimes they do. Sometimes I say unfortunately, I have to shop at Whole Foods because I have, for example, a really great example of what they're talking about is how your diet isn't supporting you is, for example, people who have hypothyroidism. I myself am unfortunately one of those people. I had it for 5 years undiagnosed, didn't have any clue why I was having reactions to foods I was having reactions to before. Then I found out they switched to soy. Soy for people with hypothyroidism is the devil, because what it does is it would, like, inflame my thyroid so bad, and then I would have this allergic reaction and get really, really sick. And I was like, I don't know, I just ate this and I used to have it before. What changed? The ingredients changed. This is definitely one of those things where read the labels on what you're buying when you're at the store in terms of food. If you're trying to cut out all sugar and you know you can't do it, switch to sugar-free or half the fat. Honestly, when I was going clean and eating clean and doing paleo several years ago when I lived on my own, what happened was people were like, wow, you're losing weight, but, like, your diet, like, you're so good on your diet. But I worked a sedentary job, and the truth was I was feeding to nourish myself, but I was not buying a lot of things with byproducts. I was buying things that I could have because the byproducts would make me very sick. So I just knew to stay away from them. So that might be something, either if you need to go get an allergy test on a food, I would definitely say do that. If you can go do that, because this is not a medical reading. But if you have hypothyroidism, there is a diet for people who have hypothyroidism, and you have to, like, test it out and see, you know, what you have reactions to and what you don't. Unfortunately, I can't have a lot of tomato. I love tomato. I can't have it raw, but I can have it sun-dried and not have any problems. You see what I'm saying? So, like, it's a trial and error, but you have to find out, like, this is why I say go see a doctor or go see a nutritionist. Sometimes I say go see a doctor first, especially if you have hormone issues or you're suspecting it because sometimes Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism actually can mirror each other in their symptoms, but the foods that people with Hashimoto's eat versus hypothyroidistic people can eat, completely different list. Sometimes there are some items that are similar that I can't have, but then there are ones that I can have. So, there's a difference there. But, even then, like, I try to stay, if I have to eat fast food, I try to stay with brands that are ideally, like, they have 100% certified beef, which is really hard to find, believe me. I try really hard to stay, like, with companies that have at least I don't have reactions to and my thyroid can handle, which, or they have vegan options, like sometimes I can have vegan food and not have a problem. So, because some of them don't use soy, some of them do. So you have to I get this card, like the frustration behind it. But it's not necessarily calling you out for like your bad eating habits as you're having a bad time with it. No, I think it's just trying to like let you know, like take a look at what you're eating and see, again, this is why I say go to a doctor, get some. Don't just get blood work done. If you're having thyroid issues or, you feel off, definitely tell a doctor and ask and see if there's a test for blood work that might be able to identify your trigger, and then go see a nutritionalist and see how you can get that into your diet. Personally, that's what I would do. Because again, this isn't a medical reading, but that's exactly the practical steps I would take to do this. Now, like I said, this gold dragon from Lyra wants to help you connect to higher consciousness, develop your casual chakra, and bathe you in 9th dimensional light. So let me pull from your Fae blessing real quick, because this is what's going to help you all throughout the whole month of May, Sag. So, yeah, it's rare for me to say Sages eat bad. I've never seen a Sag eat like crap food. They usually know how to buy well. But, times are hard right now for everybody. And so it's like, I get it. Like, if you're feeling like you're like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I can't lose weight, and I eat the desserts. Well, the truth is when I used to eat desserts and do paleo, but I knew my body needed the sugars. You know what I'm saying? So, like, also, this is definitely, like, if this is a time where you're wanting to look into not just getting sessions with, like, a fitness trainer, but someone who specializes in meal planning, carbs, down to the micros, now might be a good time to research to find one. Maybe not join their membership until post-retrograde, but, like, look into see their educational background. Look into seeing how their client reviews are. Looking to see their programs and if you can budget them in, or if they have free content on YouTube. There's one girl, oh, I love her, Gauge Girl Training. She's awesome. She has such great stuff. Very informative content too. But that's definitely one I can recommend. And she talks about hormone issues too. So for my people who... and she talks about different types of belly fat. Like, that's one. There are some male ones out there, too, that I've seen. But since I'm a lady, I have to, like, look at, the lady stuff. But for my men out there, there's that for you, too. So hang on just a second. Show me my beautiful Sealy Court. What's coming in for Sagittarius or their blessings while we will be dealing with Mercury and retrograde. Oh, good. Goodness. Oh, that one's in reverse anyway. Oh, Sag, you got the blessing of ever young. This is so funny because it's like the Fae are even backing up this card, but this is different. This is having renewed health, vitality. Again, it's not a medical reading, but this card comes up when it's like, say you've been having a problem, you've been going to the doctor, they put you on a new medication. Well, now because you're taking it, you're feeling better. And they're coming in to say, hey, yeah, if you've been feeling off, it's time to go see a doctor. It's time to go take care of whatever it is you need to have examined. Because right now, Sagittarius, in order for you to have this renewal, like, feeling of youth and vitality in you, you've got to go take care of yourself first. On top of that, it's not just that. It's also like about you're hitting a space where you have a lot of age wisdom, but maybe you're like, oh, but I look old. Well, this is where I would say if you want to go like renew your skincare, do research. Again, do your research on skincare products, not through influencers, but through like, what is retinol? What is this? What is that? What is moisturizer? Oh my God. One time I dated a Sag man. I can't seem to get over him. It was like several years ago, but he ghosted me. Typical Sag. Anyway, the point is like, what drove me crazy, we talked for 3 weeks, hit it off, everything went well, and we met in person, and the one thing he told me that I was like, his poor skin, he did not use moisturizer. And I was like, baby, your skin is dry because you don't use moisturizer. Like, can I please just go get you a manly one from Sephora? Like, please, can I help you? And he was like, no, that's girly. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, the reason you're having this problem, your skin's dry, like, let me help you. You know, like, it was like that. And he, you know, but he wasn't open to that. And I was like, okay, well, he's not open to that. I have to respect that. But, you know, if you're like, yeah, I do, you know, truth is when men take care of themselves, like, they feel better, okay? Like, they look better. Like, it's not girly to have a skincare routine, okay? It's not. That's just an illusion someone told you to make you buy into this false toxic idea of masculinity, okay? But masculinity is whatever it is you define it, but I'm just letting you know. Most men actually, I think, what is it? My friend is like obsessed with this Korean band, and they're K-pop. I like them too, their stuff, but I can't remember their name right now, but like, they all look young and beautiful. You know why? Because they have skincare routines. That's why. They look better than the American men here. Because they take care of themselves. Take notes, gentlemen. Take notes. I'm not judging, but go to Sephora. Get you a consult, honey. Anyway, you might be able to afford it. Get you some new show. Go to Bath & Body Works. Oh, I loved it when men came into Bath & Body Works. You know why? Because I got them to take care of themselves. I would teach for their girlfriends. Their girlfriends would never come in and thank me, and I was okay with it because I knew I did them a favor. Go get you some body wash. Go get you some lotion. You know, go to Bath & Body Works. Go get the candle that smells like mahogany teak wood. You know, keep your apartment. It doesn't mean you're any less masculine. It just means you take better pride and care in yourself. Okay? And the reason I'm saying this with this card for men is because even though there's a female here, you know, I wanted to give men a representation of, like, again, what we're talking about here with masculinity and taking care of oneself, which, if you notice, they're the same color. Heart chakra stuff there. It's talking about, again, we have a lot of green. There's a lot of heart chakra energy, and orange too, which is sacral. Oh, this card was upright. Oh, weird. I thought it was in reverse, but it says a blessing to undo an unfortunate grease. Now, greases in the Fae realm are, and in some practices of hoodoo and voodoo, they use this term too. It is a curse or a spell. Now, in the terms of the Fae, this is a negative casting. This is a hex or a curse or an ill intention. Because sometimes, not all greases are people that are evil, malicious sorcerers trying to put that negative energy out there. It's more or less like sometimes it's just a negative intention. You know, a friend might have said unintentionally or seemed unsupportive, or it was a negative thought, or a family member or our lover who put that intention out there. Maybe they didn't mean to do it on purpose. It might have just been, again, unintentional. Well, now the beauty is Mercury retrograde is going to have you reevaluate that to undo this energy. You may not be able to get back what was done, but you'll be able to open the gateway up to move forward and reclaim something here. So that's pretty good, Sag. Oh, I wanted to make note, when it comes to this card, the Blessing of Ever Young talks about how the Fae, how they view age is very different from how we view age. We view age and we dread getting older. The Fae, on the other hand, are like, with age comes wisdom, and they look forever youthful and beautiful, and or sometimes like they look, you know, kind of like Gandalf. Like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings is way older than he appears. But he looks like he's like 50, but he's been around for a good while in the mythology of that Tolkien created in his story. And so, like, I'm just pointing it out. Like, again, it gives us like very kind of like, oh, they look like 50, but maybe they're 300 years old. And the truth is because the Fae see aging very different than we do. And also it's because they age differently. They're built differently than we do. We age due to stress and life, being on a 3D planet, and we have no magic. The Fae, on the other hand, they're able to connect to Gaia's magic. And so therefore, it's through this like lighthearted nature that they're able to enjoy themselves and reclaim this childlike energy and youthful essence. And so I want you, Sag, to really think about how these aspects affect your life and how they can better you during Mercury retrograde. Because I always tell people Mercury retrograde is retroflect to retrospect. But, you know, he also wants us to go out and have fun, because Mercury retrograde is, like I said in the beginning of this video, the ultimate prankster. He loves to play pranks on us. And he thinks his pranks are funny, but we don't, because we're too busy trying to get shit done, you know? And the thing is he's wanting us to be a little bit less serious. He's wanting us to be a bit more casual so we can think and listen. So other than that, Sag, that is all I have for you. If you guys would like to book me for a personal session, you may do so down in the description box below. If you would like to tip me, you may do so down in the description box below. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys after June 16th. I'm taking appointments all the way to Memorial Day, and then I'm off for 2 weeks. I have a wedding that I am in now. One of my siblings is getting married, and so I'm having to hurry and scurry to get things done. But if you cannot book me at the time that I am available, you can actually get a recorded session with me. It doesn't change the price, and I can just do a video reading and send it to the video link to your email for you to watch. So, other than that, guys, I will see you later. If you do not get a session with me, and if you do not join me on Patreon, don't worry. I will see you in the middle of June. Bye, my loves.